Fear on the High Seas. A serialized gay romance taking place on the Caribbean cruise liner, the Majestic Coral. Sail with me as I bring everyone a Caribbean adventure with romance, humor, and possible destruction. Penned by Ryland Mason, narrated by me, Brian Shepard.
Chapter 8. Eric. The only way to close the watertight doors is via the switches on the bridge, or manually closing them down below. It seems the ship was indeed taking on water, most likely due to one of Divine's explosives. The source of the leak had to be checked out. Looking around reception, noticing all the lights, decor, and just the grandeur of the ship itself. There's no way he's going to let some crazy guy dictate what happens to his ship. Walking back to where Justin and Chance stood, it was time to come up with a plan, and fast, as time was slowly deciding to take on water. Chance, we need to get over to the control room and see if we can either fix or try to slow the ship while I go below and close the watertight doors. He knew, just by saying that, the look he would see on Justin's face. A look of sadness. Quickly embracing Justin. "It'll be okay. Don't worry. I'll be back before you know it," he said, kissing Justin on the forehead. Justin, letting go of some of the unease he was feeling, needed to get it together. Focus. "Are you sure you don't need me?" Justin asked as he stepped back from Eric, not letting go. "No, I want you to stay here where it's safe. I'll go and check out this leak. We're not sinking today," he said, looking into Justin's eyes. It would be faster if it was just Eric who went to deal with the leak and close the watertight doors. And he did not want Justin in harm's way. As they made their way through the ship to the control one, which was located in the bow section, port side, not that far from the bridge, when Eric approached the door and tapped his key card, the door would not open. Of course not, he thought to himself. He's locked me out of my own ship. I had a feeling this was not going to be easy, he said as he walked around the corner. Justin and Chance were just staring at each other when Eric came back with an axe in his hands, causing Justin to grab Chance away from the door as Eric stepped up and swung with all his might at the door handle. Justin could see the frustration, stress, and determination in the swing as the muscles in Eric's arms tightened with such force the door had no chance as wood split and shards went everywhere. And with a kick, Eric busted into the room. "Damn, Justin, your boyfriend here is not only the captain, yet it seems he's also hiding the Hulk under his uniform," he chuckled as they entered the room behind Eric. Eric just smiled and rolled his eyes. "Trust me, if they had changed out the door for a metal one like I had asked, that would have gone totally different. I'd be still hacking away at it," he said in response as he headed for the other side of the room. Good, he thought. Everything seems to still be running. Everything in this room controlled some key part of the ship. Divine had already been in this room, so I doubt we'll be able to just log in and take over, he thought as he now heard Justin talking. "Chance, really?" Justin began to say. Uh-oh, Eric thought. This is where he says the line, "He's not my boyfriend," he thought as he walked over to Justin to listen to the rest. "Never mind what's under the uniform. Let's worry about the nutcase still on the ship," Justin finished. "Wait, no denial? No line? No corrections? So that means... Chance, over here is the main computer. Comms, navigation, security, and emergency services you can find here on the main screen," he said as he pointed everything out to Chance, who was looking everything over. "Well, looks simple, yet knowing him, I will have to override his mess, which hopefully won't take long. Chance said as he stood there to begin. I would start with navigation. See if you can stop the ship. I have a feeling going to the engine room will prove useless. Anyway, Justin, a word, taking Justin's hand and walking to the other side of the room. I'm going to stop right there. So here we are, folks. Chapter 8. Stuff is just going all sorts of craziness, thanks to Divine. And according to readers, Divine is public enemy number 1 right now because he's just caused chaos and in what could have been a good story with no explosions, without people taking over the ship and just ruining Justin's vacation. I really do feel bad for Justin. By the way, Divine is based on a real person that I know personally. He is not like this in any way, but he wanted to be in the book. So I told Divine, absolutely, I'll put you in the book, but you're going to be a bad guy in the book. You're going to be causing some mischief and mayhem, and possibly destruction of the ship. I don't know what's going to happen, but he said that's fine. So, all right, there you go. Which now means that I have to throw another friend of mine in the next book. I told her that I would throw her in there. Sydney, if you listen, I will throw you in book number 2, girl. I got you. I want to thank everyone at this time for actually reading. I've reached over 100 downloads of this podcast. My serialized book that I came up with, this gay romance. So thank you for taking the journey with me. I'm not finished with it. So don't think that just because we're reaching chapter 10, which is the end of this particular book. I only wanted to do 10 chapters because it was my first book. I wanted to keep it short to make sure that I can grasp the concept of writing. So we're almost done. And then I can move on to my next series. Jack Jameson, my archaeologist and avid adventurer. I think that's going to be a lot of fun. And you all get to go on the ride with me. So we're going to bounce. We're going to bounce from Eric and Justin for a little while. And we're going to move over to Jack Jameson. And then I'll bounce back over and do book 2 for Love on the High Seas, which is the next book for Fear of on the High Seas. So there you go. So look forward to Love on the High Seas, which is going to focus around Chance as one of the main characters. He gets moved on over to book number 2. So we're not done with Chance. We're going to see what happens with Chance. And it's called Love on the High Seas for a reason. So possibly Chance will find some love. Oh, how exciting. But what's going to happen? Because the theme of the stories is the cruise ship itself. The ocean liner, the Majestic Coral. So is it going to sink? Is it not going to sink? Is it going to make it through to the next 3 books? I have no idea. Let's continue and find out. Here's the part where I leave you with Chance. I'm not sure what's going to happen, but I thought you should know that I'm really glad that you came on this trip, and I was allowed to briefly get to know you. I'm sorry your trip has been a disaster. Maybe we can do another cruise. It was then that lips locked. A moment Justin seemed to take, as Eric seemed to be starting to fumble with his words. Surprising Eric, as he just stood there, holding Justin and kissing back with just as much fierceness. Stepping back from Eric, Justin spoke. I just want you to know that I feel the same, if not more. You need to come back. You promised me you would keep me safe. That means both of us are off the ship. Kissing Eric once again. A distraction, Eric thought. Smart guy. And me there, people. Let's not forget about Chance. Looking over his shoulder from the screen. Right, like I would leave you behind. We both have a story to tell John when we get back. And I'm also going to tell him he owes me another vacation, Justin said as he looked at Chance. When he turned around to Eric, he was just slipping out the door. A glance back at him with an added smile, and then he was gone. Eric made his way down the main staircase, through the hallways, and then hit the bottom level, where laundry is. Walking down the hallway, he could see the water on the floor. About an inch, he would guess, as he crouched down to get a closer look. Looking down the hallway, he could see the water seeping out from under. Walking into the laundry room, Divine was right. There was a lot of water. However, the washer machine that was blown up was still burning and bolted to the floor, so there's no way to get to the leak as it seemed to be coming from behind. There's nothing he could do about the leak except keep the door closed, and he would have to close the watertight doors on this deck. Once the doors are closed, that would be that, hopefully keeping the boat afloat at least to make it to port. Sloshing around the water, Eric made his way to the end of the narrow hall and found the box on the wall containing the button to lower the door, and once it's closed, it can only be opened from the outside. So it was wise to be ready to leave the area before they close. Eric pressed the button and the door began its descent. Turning around, he started to make his way back towards the other end and past the now gushing laundry room. All he had to do was press the button and exit before it closed. He pressed the button and the door started to slowly make its way down. Before he had a chance to step through, Divine stopped him while holding a gun. Sorry, Captain, you stay here, just like Summers did when you sent her to the same thing I did. You sent her to a watery grave when it should have been you who closed those doors and checked for passengers, not her. You look confused, Captain. Oh, you're trying to figure out the connection. You're gonna die anyways, so I'll just tell you that for killing her sister, you die, and she collects the insurance money. Later, Captain, he smiled as the door finally came to a close. Eric just stood there. What was he to do now? How was he supposed to get out without being able to open the doors? Remembering the layout, he recalled an access point on this and the deck above. Looking around the ceiling at the other end of the hallway was the hatch that would lead up to the next deck, and then lead through an access tunnel that was the length of the ship. And it was his one chance he had, as they were normally left unlocked. As he walked past the laundry room, peeking into the window, he could see the water was now about waist deep, as water was gushing from behind the now smoldering washer. With the speed of the ship still at least around 12 knots, that would be fast enough to tear off any blown-out section of plating, allowing more water to enter. Great, another problem, Eric thought as he was now standing in front of the ladder. Up the ladder and pull the lever downwards. Nothing. And you pull the lever and it opens, he said again. This time, still nothing. Well, isn't this just grand, he thought. No way out. This was it. Was this how Summers had died? Did she get stuck? Wait. How did he know how she died